Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. Today we'll be majorly talking about your career path to data science. We have Mr. Mayank with us. So he has been a data analyst with multiple big organizations. Few of the organizations are Wipro, EXL, Optum, and Wells Fargo. So this is the right opportunity for anybody who is willing to understand, the path to data science or how to become a data analyst. We would love to have him talk about his own experience, and he'll be sharing his tips or tricks that can help you become a data analyst or a scientist. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in. I would hand it over to you. You can talk about your personal experience, and slowly we can move for a Q&A round.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I would be a very good case study in terms of how to become a data analyst because my background is I'm a mechanical engineer. So for the 4 years of my engineering, we did only was steam engines and IC engines and things like that, and no exposure to that there is a career that is booming outside that is called data science or data analytics. And once I completed my graduation in 2014, I started looking for jobs. And by the time I finished my engineering, I realized that mechanical engineering is something that I don't want to do. Right. So then I started looking for other avenues. What to do, what is a booming industry, and what is my area of interest. And I joined a BPO called EXL. I've joined the BPO division of EXL, and I had no clue about what's going to happen and how things are going to pan out. But luckily, 6 months time, I got to know that they have an analytics division as well, and there are multiple line of businesses. So I started to speak to people who are already there doing data analytics in EXL, and from there, actually, the interest started, and I started getting inputs from those people on how to crack into the industry or how to at least get into the role so that I can get an exposure and then see my way out. Right. So the major thing that I got from all the people was know your SQL. Right. SQL is something that is like bread and butter for a data analyst or data scientist. If you know SQL, majority of your problems at entry level will be sorted out because it helps you to transition to different tools very easily. Because every company has a different tool to ingest data, to extract data, to transform data. But if you know SQL in the background, the transition becomes super easy. So I started studying SQL, and again, I did not have much of an exposure on where to start, what to do. So I hopped on these random YouTube videos, trying to gain my knowledge and trying to get into data analytics. So one fine thing that happened was I applied for an IGP, and they interviewed me, and majority of the questions that they asked were from SQL. We'll get into what questions were asked there. So majority of the questions that they asked were from SQL, and bingo, I got the transition into data analytics, and that's when my career started. So it was around 6 to 8 months of hard work and 6 to 8 months of talking to people and trying to understand what to do and how to get into it. And at times I wish those 6 to 8 months, I would say 12 months could have been used better had I a better guidance. But then, yeah, whatever has to happen, and that was my way of learning it to it. But once I went into the industry, I realized, what are the nuances of this, how to break into this. And I always wanted to help people who are some person like me looking into get into data analytics. But then in this era, you have so many options, you have so many people telling you with your videos that I can help you crack it in 3 months, in 2 months, or 1 month. I can make you a data scientist in 6 days also. So that is something that you have to, saturate on what you want, and you have to figure out what you need to do. What is the path that you choose that will determine how quickly you get into your dream job, or let's say you get into a job that helps you get started with your career. So
Right.
one thing, yeah.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so once I got into the industry, now I was a data analyst. Now the thing that was booming around is let's become a data scientist, right? So again, data analyst, we have not ingested properly. Now we want to become a data scientist. Now again, you start talking to people, see what they are doing, and majority of the people who were data scientists, they were actually doing data analyst work. They were not doing data scientist work, because data science, very few companies do very niche data science. Otherwise, majority of the companies are still involved in the process of cleaning data, right? So because the way data is being captured today is at a very high rate, right? But the quality of data is something that is lacking. So I can write one line machine learning code into my Python or SAS and feed the data to it, and it will give you a result. The model is ready. But what is the use of that model? Why would you want to create a model which does no good to you, and then you'll show skills? Okay, I know how to apply this particular model, right? So why does that happen? Sir, can you elaborate what the IGP was? Yeah, I'll surely let you know that once we go into the Q&A, Soumya, once we go into the Q&A, you park that question there and we'll address it one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was saying that so what the data, if the data is not clean, if the data is not quality, then there is no point doing data science over it, right? Because it will not give you accurate results. Suppose you have a data of people, like these people are going to log in at this particular time, so you run a particular ad, but then these people are not logging at that particular time. You're wasting your money, but your algorithm says that, oh yes, uh, these people will log in at this particular time, and you will get the desired result. So this talk is majorly addressed to people who want to get into the industry and crack it, and then figure out what do you want to do, right? How do you want to pan out as a data analyst? In which direction do you want to go? So that is, I would say, the goal, and that is what entry level people should look for, not to grasp everything at once, because it's not that easy. But at the same time, it is not that difficult too if you plan it properly. You have to plan your career. You have to transition from a data analyst to a data scientist. Either, I mean, there are two ways to become a data scientist. One is that you in your graduation have a very math heavy and statistics heavy concepts that majority of us miss, because the industrial gap is there. Colleges teach you, but they don't know how to apply it in the industry, right?
Right.
So one way is that. The other way is you start as an entry level data analyst, start doing things step by step, and in 4 years, 5 years time, or 3 years time, you will eventually become a data scientist. And again, there are multiple roles. You can become a data engineer, you can become a data architect, you can become a data scientist. Data scientist is just one designation that is talked about right now these days, but I believe
Right.
it's a very high position, right? There are majority of roles that you can do, right? At times you can become a business analyst as well, which is a semi technical role,
Right.
right? And people do really well there as well. And when you come into a managerial role, you are not doing exactly data science, but you're actually creating an I would say a roadmap for people who are applying data analytics, right? So once, the goal should be to enter into a company that does data analytics, and once that happens, then you figure out your way, right? And that is the most difficult part, to crack your job, right? Once you do that, then it will be a cakewalk. Not a cakewalk, but then yeah, you'll be in that conversations, you'll be in that zone, so that things will start settling down, and you'll get a clearer picture of what you want to do,
Right.
right? So in terms of tool, I mean, if I have to prepare a roadmap, or I have to guide you through what a roadmap is for SQL, for becoming a data analyst. Now, let's suppose right now everybody's seeing the screen. So there are majorly, what I see is advanced Excel, SQL, Power BI, Python, Tableau, quant, aptitude, and soft skills, right? So understand this, what this package is actually. The Excel has been there since ages, and even if you are quite capable enough, you can do machine learning on Excel as well. Okay,
Right.
you can apply logistic and linear regressions there, right? Then comes MySQL, then Power BI, then Python. So if you see it as a package, one part of the coding does the extraction. It extracts, it brings the data to your system. One part of the let's suppose Python, right, or SQL, what it does, it ingests that data for you. It manipulates that data for you and creates the result you want to see, right? And then the other part is Power BI and Tableau, right? So Power BI and Tableau, what they are basically doing, they are actually helping you to story tell what you have figured out. They are trying to tell. It is like telling a beautiful story, like creating a picture, a visualization, right? To make people who are not well versed with numbers understand what are your findings, what statistical methods that you applied. They're not interested in it, or whether it's mean, median, or mode. You just have to, in a simple form, help them digest that data, right? So right now these tools are in itself three different domains, right? One is a data analyst who will majorly use SQL, Python, and Excel, right? The other one is a BI developer. A BI developer or a BI analyst is somebody who will use Tableau and Power BI, right? And then there is this, when it comes to quant, soft skill, and SQL, when somebody does all of this, then he becomes a data scientist, right? From cleaning the data to visualization to the end part.
Right.
That is what a data scientist does. And that is something that will take time. That will take time. You cannot just do it in a jiffy, right? Now when it comes to SQL also, let's elaborate a bit on SQL. That is, I mean, it's the most important thing that needs to be there in order to become a data analyst or a data scientist, because this is the language that helps you interact with the data, so you have to be well versed with it. Now, again, in SQL, there are two roles. One is for an analytics perspective, the other is for a developer perspective, right? When SQL is going through a developer perspective, then you have to learn, for example, triggers, cursors, views, right? But when it is going from an analytics perspective, then you have to look for duplicates, distincts, right? Removing duplicates, removing distincts, doing group by, order by, and then getting the data, the cleanest data, so that you can feed it into your algorithm, right? So one of my advice to everyone would be to get your hands on SQL and keep doing it. Every day you will think that, okay, I have mastered SQL. It will amaze you in a different way, right? It is so powerful, and it helps you interact with multiple databases, right? For example, Hadoop, it is just SQL going to HQL. Simple syntax changes, but still SQL. Use Now, see the impact of SQL. You use SQL in advanced Excel also. You can write queries there, right? You can use SQL in Python also. You don't know Python, your company uses Python, right? You don't know Python, import a package called SQLite and start doing SQL in Python only, right? And do get the desired results that they want. And in the meantime, you'll get the time to learn Python as well. So it is not that you'll be a blank slate. You know SQL, you can do it in Tableau. I mean, Tableau has a complete background of SQL only. You write a query there, it will extract the data for you, and then you visualize it, right? So SQL has multiple implications, and this is one thing that I tell everybody, that you should get your hands dirty on SQL and keep doing it, no matter where it comes from. But when you have to specify and understand that you are doing it from a data analyst and data scientist perspective. Don't go into triggers, don't go into cursors, don't go into buildings, I mean, views there. It won't help you out. And that's where, I mean, I did both of it. Then I realized, okay, this is something that I should not do or should not have done. It would have saved my time, right? So I can tell you what not to do, so that it will save your time,
Right.
and again it will excel and help you get going in your career pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, now in terms of the tools that we are seeing here, right? So, first and foremost, we have talked a lot about SQL. Now, the sources where you can learn SQL from, we can discuss that later. Now, when SQL is the data extraction part, so it is sorted. Whenever data is in tabular form, you can interact with it using SQL. Okay. So, one part of data analytics job is done, and majority of your BAU work is done through this only. So let's suppose a client will come to me and client will send me an email. Okay, I want I want the number of patients, right, that are suffering from cardiovascular disease from 2016 to 21. That is a BAU task, right? So what you basically do is you go to SQL and you write a query where you put in the date, criteria, as you put in the identifiers that will identify the cardiovascular. You need to know which table to hit, right? This is a very basic thing. Then they'll tell you, okay, apart number of patients that we have identified, we need to check whether they use an inhaler or not. right? Okay, so on the basis of that, they'll make a decision. Okay, this is the number of population that are not using a inhaler, right? Let's target them. It's a very
Right.
basic thing. It's a very basic thing, right? But this is your BAU job. Now complications can come in terms of multiple tables, connection, and everything. But this is your BAU job. Now the next thing comes once you are done with your SQL. Now majority of the companies use Python or SAS. Majorly healthcare and banking companies have started to migrate from SAS to Python, but both are there. So you have to choose. Don't go for both. It will waste your time, right? Right now, till the time you have to get an entry level job, don't waste your time on both of it.
Right.
Python is more acceptable. Python is more acceptable right now in the market. So go for it, and it is easier to do, right? So start working on Python. Again, Python has two roles. One is where you just import a package, pandas as PD, right? You import one package and you use it. The other side of the people are who are developers, they write that package, right? So you don't have to become a coder in Python. You have to understand how do I clean, sort, manipulate my data using Python, which comes storing the data in tabular forms, grouping, and arrays come in arrays also come when you use NumPy, when you're using data science kind of things. So you have to at every point in time you have to be very clear that I want to be a data analyst or data scientist. I'm not going in the developer role, because if that keeps popping in, then you will not be able to finish Python till the end of your life. You'll keep on developing, and again your goal is to do a data analytics, right?
Right.
So, and now again, pandas is a package that is within Python. NumPy is again a package that helps you. Matplotlib is something that helps you visualize data in Python only. You don't go to Tableau. Seaborn, again a package. So all these are packages that you use within Python to help your get your job easier. Now, what I would suggest you to create a package for yourself, and that package is, I know one language that helps me extraction. I know one language that helps me in transformation, and I know one tool that helps me to visualize. It can be Power BI, it can be Tableau, it can be Python or SAS and SQL and Excel. SQL and Excel you have to do. You cannot just escape that,
Keep it. Right.
right? Yeah. So create a package for it, and then look for the, look for the job opportunities that are there. What are they asking? Don't fret that every company is asking for a data analyst, right? But the requirement should be quite different. One company's data analyst requirement would be very different from the other company. So
Right.
look for those where you have your skills, right? And be adaptive. For example, if some company says that I want SQL, SAS, SQL, Python, R, but you know only two, go and apply for it, right? Company doesn't expect that you will know every language and everything. They just want to see, okay, you know one or two. Are you trainable? Do you understand the logics? If yes, then you can pick any technology based on that, based on their work culture and everything.
Right.
So yeah, the major thing is, like, first of all, figure out what role do you want to go. And I would suggest, don't fall in the mirage of data scientist to become a data scientist. It will be a path that will, it requires a lot of clarity. It is a very mature role, right? Start with data analytics, start with data analyst, BI developer, um, yeah, business analyst also. Get into these roles and then figure out what do you want to do, right? Now, if I want to, throw some light on data scientist as well. So when you see a data scientist requirement, they'll say a person must know KNN, gradient boosting, then they should know logistic regression, linear regression, and then multiple algorithms. So those algorithms that took so much time to evolve for a statistician, they want 1 to 3 year person to know this, which is not possible, right? And if you try to do it again, you will keep on getting dissatisfied and getting angry with yourself. I'm not able to do it. Why is it not happening? And then interviews will also, create a disappointment. Okay, he'll ask you some random concept from KNN which you don't know, and
Uh,
that is perfectly all right. You don't know that. You cannot know that. And once I saw in this industry also, now if you want to target data science, just pick one or two algorithms. That's it. Majority of the problems that are there in data science that companies solve are solved through logistic and linear regression. That is it. Just 80% of the business problems are solved with logistic and linear regression. So just pick these two algorithms and study them in and out, study their mathematical interpretation, right? Not applying logistic regression is very easy. You'll just write one line of code in Python or SAS. But why do you do it? What results it gives you? How do you interpret it that? What is the p value? What is the confidence level? How does that impact us? That is what needs to be understood. So if you get one algorithm, logistic and linear regression, sorted, you can get an entry level data scientist job as well, where you will be happy to start working. And then comes these KNN and image searching, classification, things like that. That is based on your interest. Maybe you might not like uh, data science. You like data engineering. Maybe you like only visualization. So you'll get to know. But for entry level, you need to create a small package for yourself where I know extraction, transformation, and visualization.
Great. Yes. So moving ahead, I mean, if we can open a quick round of questions,
Yeah.
let's say, I mean, I'll have a couple of questions myself because I see, I mean, when I interact with people who wants to get into data science or data analyst roles, I mean, all these words of data scientist, artificial intelligence, machine learning, they seem so fascinating, and people would want to learn all of this in a 6 month span or a 9 month span. Right. So, I mean, you nicely put the difference or the basic difference between data analyst and the data scientist. So, I mean, there are multiple roles like implementation analyst or business analyst that are, looked down upon, or maybe, are not, people are not interested in going for these roles. And one big reason might be they are not aware of what exactly the tools and technologies are used for, I mean, which you cleared. So, I mean, one quick question that I believe most of them also would be having, or anybody who wants to get into this sector would be having, is what is the basic difference between your Power BI and Tableau? And, why should I learn or choose only one? So,
Okay.
I mean, any points on that?
Yeah. So basically, Power BI and Tableau both are very similar tools, right? There is not much of a difference. If you know one, you can get hands on the other. That's not a problem, right? Now, when it comes to the acceptance, majority of the companies right now are moving to Power BI, right? Why they are doing that? Because it is cheaper. Okay.
Right.
Also, the other thing is that it is a Microsoft product, and what you do day in day out, you work with Microsoft Excel, then you use Microsoft Teams, then you use SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So this product integrates with all of them pretty easily, the Power BI thing, right?
Right.
So majority of the companies that have gone through that are asking for Power BI majorly is because of the cost. There
Right.
is not much difference between both of them. Both of them can connect to any of the tool. They can connect to cloud, they can connect to your internal database, they can import sheets. You can do anything and everything in both the tools. With Tableau comes cost, right? Even to view a particular dashboard, right, it will involve a licensing cost. For
Right.
somebody who's developing, it will involve a licensing cost. And also, let's suppose you guys are learning Tableau, right? So Tableau is something, then you'll have to purchase a license in order to get all the features and everything. So that is
Right.
not cost effective. That's it. But if you know Power BI, you can work with Tableau as well. Not a problem at all. And very similar. Very similar.
All right. Great, amazing, sir. So, anyone, if you have any questions, or maybe, if you can unmute and ask, you can do that, or you can also put it on the chat box. Yeah. So, a question is regarding the IGP that we had.
Yeah, so I believe Soumya was the one who was asking for elaborating more about IGP. So,
Right.
Soumya, I got lucky that I could apply to IGP and move from BPO into analytics. It usually does not happen, right? That is why we are here discussing on how to exactly crack that particular job. So, we'll be well prepared with our training, and then we'll directly get into the job, right? Instead of finding a way around, right? It Companies have IGPs. For example, you are working as a data analyst, and once you spend a lot of time there, IGPs means internal job postings, right? So once you get into the company and you are doing one kind of work for 2 or 3 years and you want to move to a different kind of work, they'll paste a similar job opening within the company only. And if somebody is interested, somebody cracks the interviews, And then, I mean, it's a similar job process like for an external, and but it's just that you are preferred earlier than the one that is from the external side.
Great. Thank you, sir. And we have one question from Madhvi that is currently she is pursuing a BSc data science, but
Mhm.
she wants to know how to get into data science related job. So if you can suggest her path.
So, I mean, first of all, what year you are in? I mean, I don't know. If can you unmute yourself and let me know what year you are in? You're pursuing BSc in data science.
Yeah. So Madhavi, if you can specify which year are you? Okay, she's in her
Okay,
final
so
year.
so in your final year, if you want to go into data scientist roles, right? That's what she asked, right?
Right, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have to get into data scientist role, again, you have to be very well versed with Python in terms of extraction and transformation and manipulation. Okay, get a visualization to get your visualization thing sorted out with Tableau or Power BI, whatever suits you. And again, then work on two algorithms: logistic regression and linear regression, and then find projects that have applied these. Okay, and once you work on those projects, then try and figure out what kind of questions do they ask, right? In terms of logistic regression, linear regression, what is a p value, what is the mathematical interpretation behind it? You have to understand that, right? So if you want to go into an entry level data science role, instead of going to multiple algorithms, I mean, depends on how have you done in all 3 years. If I mean, if this is your final year and you have not much done on algorithm side, pick two algorithms: logistic, linear, and get your SQL done, get your Python done, and get a visualization thing done, and take a crash course or something which will brush up all the, which will bring in together all of this, so that you can have a bird's eye view and you can have understand that, okay, this is the starting point and this is the end point. I've completed these things, and then start applying. Make your LinkedIn profile, right? Make your LinkedIn profile. Read articles
Hello, sir.
on, just a moment. Yeah.
Sir, hi, I have one doubt. Sir, as we will we will join. We want to join data science role as a fresher means it's very tough, sir. There are more or chances are is there in where what experience you have, what experience you have. That like that
Mhm.
will how fresher will join like that.
Yeah. So one thing again, I told you, one thing is data science. Yes, it is a tough thing to do, and especially if you are from a tier 2, tier 3 college, you already
Yes,
have a
sir.
bit of disadvantage in India, right? Now you have to prove yourself more in
Yes,
order
sir.
to get the particular job, right? So what,
Yes.
again, I would suggest you, instead of climbing the mountain, right, going to Mount Everest, start from one step at a time. Don't jump the gun, right? If you will
Yes,
try
sir.
and jump the gun and become a data, I want to become a data scientist, in that process you might reject a lot of rules that will be very helpful for you, right?
Yes,
So
yes, sir.
again, I work on the basics, work on SQL, Python, Tableau, or SQL, Python, Power BI. Work on the basics and then see what kind of jobs you're getting, and get your hands dirty there, right?
Yes, sir.
Start picking projects from online or somebody who can help you out, where they're implementing this, and see how comfortable you are. Do you really want to do it, or it's just that the market is giving a lot of money, so you think, okay, it's an interesting job? You have to understand, do you really want to do it or not, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
for example, I have had 8 years of experience, right? And I'm
Hmm.
still a data scientist in making. I have not cracked the code. Okay, I'm still
Okay.
doing data analytics jobs. I have done extraction, I have done transformation, I have done a bit of machine learning. But if you'll ask me, are you a data scientist? No, man, I'm not. It takes a
Yes, sir.
lot of time to evolve into that role, man,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
right? And now that you see majority of the data scientist role, people will ask for a PhD.
Hmm.
Okay,
Oh,
or people will ask for master's degree, because it is that kind of role. And any company who's asking you to just extract the data and telling you, okay, you are data scientist, it is no good to you, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. But startup companies are not. They are only focusing only skills only. No,
Yes,
they are
so
not
you have
expecting
to
more
develop
than
those
PG
skills.
or PhD.
No, that's what I'm saying, you have to develop your skills first, buddy.
Ah,
Then get
yes.
referrals, make your profile
Okay.
on LinkedIn, reach
Oh,
out to recruiters, right?
yes, sir. That's the
Reach
thing,
out to
sir.
recruiters. Yeah.
Yes,
And
sir.
work on your communication. Write a proper connecting email to them. I'm looking for this job. This is the job ID. It's not just, hey, this is my resume, refer me in your company. Nobody will do that. Okay. Find a job ID. Okay. Tell
Sir,
them
if
I have these kind of skills, and then you'll eventually get it. The road is tough. I mean, Ravi can help you to make your road easier. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
it can
Yeah.
be done. Don't worry. But keep working on your skills. Keep working on your skills.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we have a
Yeah.
question
Best of luck.
from Sai Suma sir. She says, I mean, she's currently having 4 years of experience in sales and content management, and she's planning to switch to a data analyst role. So
Hmm.
will companies accept the
Yes, sir. Sir,
certification? Will they consider
if I
my
work in a real-time project, means that will I will consider it is a experience, a 6 month experience or 1 year experience. It's not like that, or I will put it.
No,
I
no,
will
no.
1 year experience.
Just write on your resume that I have worked on this particular project, this particular thing, right? And then connect with people, and you will be referred. You will get a job opportunity, but your basics have to be clear. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And also one thing I would add on: when you see a job description and you see what you have written on your resume,
Ah,
okay,
yes, sir.
you have to make it in sync. It has to be a standard resume, otherwise your resume won't be picked up. So
Ah,
right?
again, those tricks and techniques and everything, how to completely make you a complete package. I mean, Ravi can help you out with that. But
Yeah,
yes, sir.
yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So,
yeah,
I mean, as I was just saying, sir, so I mean, she wants to know if she wants to switch from a sales and content management role to a data analyst role. Will the companies consider her experience and for offering the good package, or what kind of certifications will they consider in?
absolutely. I mean, first of all, the advantage that you have is you know the domain, right? You know the sales and content management, right? So in sales, there are multiple reports that you see, multiple matrices, key performance indicators that you'll see, right? So you know the business. Now you have to go to the other side. Usually, what people do is first get the technical know-how, then understand the business. So you are starting from the other side, right? So absolutely company will accept you, and no company knows what you are doing in that company, right? So once you get your hands on in terms of SQL SAS, then you make your resume in such a way that it shows that you have done this particular thing, right? And you have the business knowledge as well. I mean, you can get a package better than the entry level people, because you have this advantage of business knowledge. But you have to understand, and you need guidance in terms of how do I collaborate both of this. Get into a semi technical role. A business analyst is a very good role for you, senior business analyst. And don't look down upon those
Analyst roles.
designations yeah, because so first of all, in a company, sales guy is the one that is the most important person. If he doesn't
Absolutely.
bring you business, what will you do? Where will you code for, right?
Correct.
So the
Correct.
first, he struggles a lot, he gets the business, and then once you get the business, then people start to code and do things, right?
Right. Right.
So every role is important, and I would in my career I have seen people who are more on the business side grow better, who understand the domain. On the technical side, it's all right, but if you know the business, your career path would be accelerated.
Great. Great, sir. So there is one question from Bhagyashree. She says, what level of knowledge or understanding should one have on Power BI to become a data analyst?
I mean, intermediate level would be fine. I mean, you have a try to do it. Extract the data. I mean, an Excel sheet of say 1,000, ten
Follow up to
thousand.
that with 4 years of work experience as a product manager.
Again, I mean, no worries on that. Power BI is no rocket science, and Tableau is also no rocket science. Once you understand the data, all you have to do is visualize it. Now, Power BI and Tableau both are majorly navigational tools, or with which button happens what, right?
Right.
So it won't be much of a problem. A good 6 month or 3 month hands-on on Tableau or Power BI, and you will be at the industry level. No worries about it.
Right.
Provided you are able to create a story with what you were doing earlier and how you are representing now.
Right. Yes, sir. So thank you so much for that. The other question is, I mean, it's from Ruth. Can you suggest any course before starting data science?
Suggest any course. Okay. So, I mean, what helped me was an interview kind of thing, right? So there was this guy called Code Venkat on YouTube. So you used to post interview questions there. So I used to follow that. Apart from that, W3S schools can help you to get into an introductory way of how to do SQL, things like that. And then there in SQL, right, there are a lot of free tools. I mean, you can choose any one of them and start working on it. But again, be specific on what do you want to achieve. Don't just randomly keep on doing, right? Be goal centric. So I mean, there are a lot of YouTube videos, lot of this videos and free content where you can learn, but they don't actually carve a path for you. So right, they'll give you this 1,000-page book, read it. It is everything is written there, but you have to figure out how do I start, where do I go.
Right, sir.
So either take help from somebody, or yeah, from an industry veteran or somebody who can help you to understand things not to do. Right.
Right. Great. So, one more question is that, I mean, there was one question on the direct message. It is from Venkat. So, I mean, that is a generic question which people also have this thing that, let's say if you apply for an interview, though you have relevant skills, what are the reasons that you might get rejected? So, how do you face the rejection when it comes to interviews point of view?
So, I mean, see, first of all, with interviews, what I do basically, I have also got rejected a lot of times, and everybody does. What it helps me to do is create an interview questions repository. Okay. So let's say you got rejected in 10 interviews now, and every interviewer asked you 5 questions, right? So you got 50 questions that are ready. That will help you in 11th or 12th, right? And then what are the reasons for rejection? At times, they want this kind of personality for their team, and you are not matching that, right? At times skills and everything would be fine, but they are looking for somebody who is more outspoken in the team. They have 3 people who are introvert, they want an extrovert guy, right? So that skill mapping happens. And don't be disheartened. I mean, every interview is a learning. You just keep on creating that interview repository, and also think about the fact what went wrong. Ask the HR. I mean, it's all right, I got rejected, but can you please share the feedback? Where was I lacking? So what I do personally is, let's suppose I have a technical interview, and out of 10 questions, I could answer 6 and I couldn't answer 4. So I'll go back to the interviewer and ask him, can you please answer these 4 questions for me, or tell me how to do it? Right. So it shows the intent of learning.
Right.
Right. So keep the positive attitude, learn from your mistakes, and no worries. Rejections are, it's nothing. Once you get that one job, you'll forget all those rejections.
Right, sir. So one more question is that, have you met anyone who transitioned from a business development role to a data analyst role in the past years? Does companies consider these profiles often?
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely. I mean, I am a mechanical engineer who went to data analytics generally. And when I went into the room of data analysts, all of them were campus hires, computer engineers, IT. I thought I'm in the wrong place. How would I, what would I do? But then I picked up those things, started conversing with them, understood what they do, what makes them good, why are they here, and then you start picking it up. So, and BD, DA, I mean, major, you will see right now. I mean, I have seen people from art coming into data analytics, right? People doing sociology coming into data analytics. So it is not a rocket science, provided you have a clear cut path, right? Somebody who has cracked the code for you, or somebody who can guide you on what to do and how to do it. So your hard work will matter. And again, in an entry level job, it's all right. No worries. 6 to 8 months are enough to get you a good data analytics job, provided you are into it. And one thing I forgot to mention is also prepare the aptitude questions, right? So you'll see there are a lot of aptitude questions that are online that, I mean, I got many aptitude questions from few interviews that I couldn't answer. But then on one interview, I got the same question that was asked from my previous interview, so I could answer. Right. So at times they'll ask you guesstimates as well, like tell me the number of people that travel in metro in a day, right? What are the number of blue cars in Delhi, right? So they don't want to know the exact count, and you don't tell them, okay, sir, there are 8 lakh cars. They don't want to know that. They want to know how will you come to that conclusion, right? That will show your logical ability, thinking ability.
Right.
So go and figure out what guesstimates look like, what are aptitude questions that are asked. American Express asks a lot of aptitude questions, and a lot of companies do that.
Right. So, I mean, one follow-up question from Sai Suma, that is, I mean, what certifications will you suggest, as I have 4 years of experience in other domain, to switch to data analyst?
Again, first of all, work needs to be done on your resume, right? We have to create a story which says that data analytics was part of your job. Second thing is, how do you justify that? So for that, you have to learn the skills, right? Third thing is, instead of spending money on certifications, I don't think it is much use, right? Tableau certification might help you, but apart from that, certifications like uh, Coursera certifications are good to know, right? They'll help you understand a bit of know-how and everything. But certifications don't matter. What matters is, do you know it or not? Certification, I can do it in a day or two, right? So instead of focusing on the certifications, focus on skill. And if you really want to know, so when you want to go into data analytics, this I forgot. Tableau certification is something that helps out. And if you're going to SAS, then SAS base program or advanced programmer certifications do help out.
Right, sir. So, do companies actually focus on the kind of projects and the resume that you build, rather
Yeah,
than focusing on the certifications given by Tableau or SAS? So,
absolutely.
yeah, adding on to what sir said, if you can focus on doing more projects or getting the practical exposure by applying for internships or working on live projects that can add value, rather than working on certifications, because certifications today, we get certifications from IBM, Tableau and everything, but ultimately in the interview they just focus on what you know rather than what certification you have. So and yes, sir. So one question is that, this the last question that we can go with, that is, how do we transition from data science to ML?
Data science to machine learning.
Right.
So I mean, again, in machine learning, the data scientist role is again predictive, prescriptive, descriptive. The ML part is completely AI based, right? So algorithms is what matter. Coding does not matter.
Right.
Mathematics, go for integral calculus, go for differential calculus. You'll have to study that, right?
Right.
And then apply those things into your AI. And again, as I mean, Andrew Ng is one of the most famous person in artificial intelligence, right?
Right.
He used to head AI in Google, and right now he has his Coursera. Also, he's a founding member of it. So he used to tell that instead of focusing on the algorithm, again focus on the quality of the data. We are not getting quality of the data, right? So if you have to transition from data science to ML, it's a progressive step. Start working on unsupervised learning algorithms, and then with time you will get. And again, do a lot of projects. I mean, do that's all that will help you out. The moment you start doing projects, you'll understand the loopholes, the problem areas, the things which you need to discover and answer, and then eventually you'll grow into that role.
Yes, sir.
But
So
have
yeah.
patience. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Have patience. Don't try to grasp everything at once and get a Facebook package of 1 crore and things like that. It takes time, but it happens. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yes, sir. So, great, sir. So, moving forward, for everyone who has joined this particular session, you will have, you'll be receiving a couple of guides that can, that can make you understand what is a clear-cut path to become a data analyst, or what is a decent path, that you can follow rather than following multiple options. As I was mentioning, do not focus on doing multiple things at a time, rather concentrate on one particular thing, master it, and then once you get into a job, that is when you can focus on the others. So we shall be sharing from Vertocity's end. So Vertocity is into upskilling and making careers easy. So anyone who's interested in knowing more about this particular thing, you can you can definitely drop an email on the or I can just share a number where you can get in touch with one of the counselors and get your doubts resolved on a one-on-one call. So one more question. The last question is all about, can you talk about recession that is happening currently? Is asked by Venkat. So,
So I mean, see, recession majorly is happening in the US, but it will have a cascading effect in India. But do understand this fact: whenever recession happens, outsourcing grows.
right.
Okay, so majority of the jobs the high paying jobs that are in US will get outsourced to countries like Asia. right?
Right.
Majorly being India and Philippines.
Right.
So India is, the market is volatile, right? You are getting layoffs as well, but you are getting job opportunities as well. So
Right.
the best way to do is work on your skill and sit tight, and don't worry about recession in India, especially at entry level. Okay.
Right.
So people who have to worry about is people who are at the high end of their salary. So they'll be removed and four new freshers will be joined and they'll do the same work. So it's good time for you. You will get jobs. Don't worry.
Right. Great, sir. So,
Sir, I had one doubt.
yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, in data science role, SQL, which level we want to study, sir?
Again, SQL in terms of extraction, transformation level, you need to do. For example, you need to know distinct, select queries, okay, order by, group by, recursive CTE, okay, common table expression, and then subqueries. These are the things that are important there. And when you go on the developer side, then there is views, there are triggers, there are cursors. Okay, so that is the other side. So for data analyst, I would suggest extraction transformation के लिए select, distinct, group by, order by, uh, again this recursive CTE, common table expression, and then subqueries, indexing. So these are the things that I mean again Ravi can help you out with this, but these are the topics that I can give you in an overview.
Right. Great, sir. So, I mean, anyone who wants to become a data scientist or an analyst, we have an exclusive community for those who can join, wherein we have multiple sessions from experienced people, talking about their experience. So, I mean, we would really like to have you people joining in, and those particular groups that can actually help you understand how can you take your journey forward. So I mean, we have a program wherein we make sure we guide you through a path, and you can join as an aspirant, wherein we'll be sharing you with multiple resources that can help you in your data science or data analyst journey, right? So I mean, any other questions that you have, you can feel free to drop an email. I mean, I will be sharing all those details to your mail IDs. I mean, thank you so much, Mayank sir, for sharing all the experiences. I mean, if anyone has any other doubt or question, you can simply drop a email, or you can visit vertocity.com and talk to a counselor on your one-on-one call. Uh, yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me.